Hello, and welcome to Women's Ministry. Today's topic is on a story about Hannah. Hannah was married to Elkanah, who was a Zophite. I hope I said that right. From a country from the Ephraim's. So there was a certain man from that was a Zophite from the country of Ephraim, and he married two wives. Two of the first wife was Hannah, and the second wife that he also married was called Penina. Penina. Well, Penina was able to give him children, but Hannah was barren. She couldn't give him any children. And in those days, it was not a good thing when a woman could not give a man children. So it made her very upset. So we'll continue with the story. And the story is starts with Samuel, First Samuel 1 through 24. So we'll start at I started at verse 2 to let you know who his wives were and why Hannah is part of the story today. So Hannah couldn't give any children. She was barren. We'll go from there. So year after year, this man went up from his town to worship and sacrifice to the Lord Almighty at Shiloh, where Hophni and Phinehas, the two sons of Eli, were priests of the Lord. Whenever the day came for Elkanah to sacrifice, he would give portions of the meat to his wife Peninnah and to all of her sons and daughters. But to Hannah he gave double portion because he loved her. So he loved Hannah more than he did his other wife. So he gave her double portions because he loved her. And the Lord was close to her womb. So she was really close to the Lord. Because the Lord had closed Hannah's womb, her rival kept provoking her in order to irritate her. So um, the other wife kept poking at her and making fun out of her and probably saying some pretty bad things about her. So this went on year after year, and then whenever Hannah went up to the house of the Lord, the other wife provoked her still until she started crying, and then she wouldn't eat. Her husband Elkanah would say to her, Hannah, why are you weeping? Why don't you eat? Why are you downhearted? Don't I mean more to you than 10 sons? And I'm sure he did. But when someone's bullying you or being mean to you, it's hard. It's hard to be pleasant inside. It's hard to be nice to people. And gives you a lot of distress inside you where you just don't feel worthwhile. You don't feel like eating. You become depressed. You kind of put yourself where nobody can see you because you feel so bad. Well, once when they were finished eating and drinking in Shiloh, Hannah stood up. That's good. Now Eli, the priest, was sitting on his chair by the doorpost of the Lord's house. In her deep anguish, Hannah began to pray to the Lord, crying bitterly. I mean, not just few tears. She cried bitterly. And she made a vow, saying, Lord Almighty, if you will only look on your servant's misery and remember me and not forget your servant, but give her a son, then I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life, and no razor will ever be used on his head. Meaning they won't cut his hair, using a razor to cut the hair. So no razor on his hair. As she kept on praying to the Lord, Eli observed her mouth. Hannah was praying in her heart, and her lips were moving, but her voice was not heard. Eli thought she was drunk. How long are you going to stay drunk? Put away your wine, he'd say. She wasn't drunk. She was praying to the Lord. Not so, my lord, Hannah replied. I am a woman who is deeply troubled. I have not been drinking wine or beer. So he made the wrong impression. He thought she was drunk. I have been praying here out of my great anguish and grief, he told her. She told him. It's a good thing she spoke up, though. When you don't speak up, people have a tendency of seeking the wrong thing about you. You know, I have. So Eli answered her, talked to her, Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked him. Well, that was nice of Eli. She said, May your servant find favor in your eyes. Then she went her way and ate something, and her face was no longer downcast, meaning she wasn't looking very sad. So that must have made her feel better, talking to Eli, but also talking to God and telling God everything that was on her mind and praying to Him for something that she would really like. Early the next morning, they arose and worshiped before the Lord and then went back to their home in Ramah. Elkanah made love to his wife Hannah, and the Lord remembered her. So, in the course of time, Hannah became pregnant and gave birth to a son. So, she prayed to God, and God gave her her wish. She named him Samuel. Now, you know who Samuel is, saying, Because I asked the Lord for him. And that kind of reminds me, because I thought I was barren. And I thought I couldn't have any kids. And so I did pray to God. I did pray to God for my oldest son. But then he gave me two sons. So he blessed me. And I have to tell you that, because I think God would want me to tell you that. I did pray, and I got two sons, even though I didn't think I could have any. Not when three doctors tell me that you cannot have kids, that I was having problems and I wouldn't be able to have kids. So I know what Hannah went through. The the anguish of knowing that you can never bear children is awful. The hurt, the pain. So I did pray to God, and I said, Lord, give me a child. I want to start my family. And he did. Not only did he give me one, but he gave me two. But I haven't had any children since then. So, but at least he gave me two, and I'm happy with what God gave me. So prayer, I'm telling you right now, prayer does work. He hears you and he hears your crying. So if you're a woman and you're having problems conceiving a child, doctors really can't do all. You have to go to God. God in prayer. And God hears you. So when her husband Elkanah went up with his family to offer the annual sacrifice to the Lord and to fulfill his vow, Hannah did not go. She said to her husband, "After the boy is weaned, I will take him and present him before the Lord, and he will live there forever, for always." So do what seems best to you, her husband Elkanah told her. "Stay here until you have weaned him. Only may the Lord make good of his word." So the woman stayed at home and nursed her son until she weaned him. After he was weaned, she took the boy with her, young as he was, along three with a 3-year-old bull, some some flour, and a skin of wine, and brought him to the house of the Lord at Shiloh. When the bull had been sacrificed, they brought the boy to Eli, and she said to him, "Pardon me, my lord, as surely as you live, I am the woman who stood here beside you praying to the Lord. I prayed for this child, and the Lord has granted me what I have asked him. So now I give him to the Lord. For his whole life he has been given over to the Lord, and he worshiped the Lord there." So Samuel had to stay there after he was weaned, and he learned, he grew, and Hannah had done exactly what she said. She prayed to the Lord, "Please give me a child." God gave him the child, and she kept her promise. She gave the child to the Lord to stay in with Eli and to go ahead and preach and be part of the preaching. So he was there to live forever and to preach. So she kept her promise. After the boy, yeah, she kept her promise and she brought the boy there. And what else? So she kept him there, and then she she promised him. Excuse me. So let's talk about a little bit about Hannah. Hannah was an important figure in the Bible, known as the mother of a prophet Samuel. She was an example of what? She was an example of faith, devotion, and perseverance. So even when you pray, even if it doesn't happen right then, remember, it's God's time, not yours. But continually pray for whatever you need, whether it's healing, maybe it's having a child, maybe it's financial, or maybe it's for someone else in the family or a friend. But never cease praying. God hears those prayers and He will answer you one way or another. So it may be no, it may be yes, but keep praying anyways. Her story appears in the first chapter of Samuel, where she stands out as a woman deeply committed to God, playing a vital role in Israel's history. You gotta remember, Hannah was barren. Hannah was the wife of Elkanah, a man from Ramah in the mountainous regions of Ephraim. Although Elkanah had two wives, his favorite was Hannah. In ancient culture, infertility was considered a disgrace, causing deep pain and shame for women who could not bear children. So Hannah suffered a lot. It was intensifying, and she felt so ashamed and so much pain. And then on top of that, uh, his other wife kept bullying her and picking on her, not being very nice to her. But Elkanah continuously made yearly sacrifices with his family at the tabernacle in Shiloh, where they offered sacrifices to worship God. During one of these visits, Hannah, deeply distressed, prayed very hard to the Lord, pouring out her heart in tears. Hannah prayed very much. She knew that God would hear her, and she knew that God would listen to those who are in distress. But Hannah made a vow, promising that if God granted her a son, she would dedicate him to the Lord's service, his the Lord's service, so he could probably preach in the church or the temple. Her prayer was so intense initially that Eli thought she was drunk, and then Hannah told Eli what was going on, so that he did understand. God heard Hannah's prayer, and she conceived a son, whom she named Samuel, meaning asked of God or heard by God. Can go either way. True to her promise, after weaning him, she took Samuel to the tabernacle and entrusted him to the priest Eli so that he could serve the Lord for the rest of his life. The Bible does not specify Hannah's exact age when she conceived Samuel. It just says that she couldn't conceive, and that she did later on conceive. So Samuel did grow up to become one of Israel's greatest prophets, didn't he? Playing a crucial role in the transition from the period of judges to the monarchy. He anointed Israel's first two kings, Saul and David, and served for an important spiritual and political leader of the nation. So what can we learn? What can we learn about Hannah's story? Well, Hannah teaches us that to trust God and to seek Him and, even in most difficult times. So, unshaken faith, persistent prayers, continuously praying, be determined in keeping your faith. But on one other thing, make sure that if you make promises to God, you keep them. But I want to tell you Hannah's prayer. And this will be our prayer today forever. Anybody who needs a prayer, And you can find this in 1 Samuel 1, 10 through 11, or 12 and 17 through 17. So this is Hannah's prayer. Let's pray together. Then Hannah prayed and said, "My heart rejoices in the Lord. In the Lord I lift my hands high. My mouth boasts over my enemies, for I delight in your deliverance. There is no holy like the Lord. There is no one beside you. There is no rock like our God. Do not keep talking so proudly, or let your mouth speak such arrogance. For the Lord is God who knows, and by him deeds are weighed. The bows of the warrior are broken, but those who stumble are armed with strength. Those who were full hire themselves out for food, but those who were hungry are hungry no more. She who was barren has borne 7 children, but she who has many sons pines away. The Lord brings death and makes alive. He brings down the grave and raises up. He, the Lord sends poverty and wealth, which he does. He humbles and he exalts. He raises the poor from the dust and lifts the needy from the ash heap. He seats them with princes and has them inherit a throne of honor. For the foundation of the earth are the Lord's. On them he has set the world. He will guard the feet of his faithful servants, but the wicked will be silenced in the place of darkness. It is not by strength that one prevails. Those who oppose the Lord will be broken. The Most High will thunder from heaven, and the Lord will judge the end of the earth. He will give strength to his king and exalt the horn of his anointed. And that's the end of Hannah's prayer. And you can look that up in the Bible too, as well, if you want to. But I just wanted to talk to a little bit about Hannah today because I think it's important that we continue our prayer and continuously pray, because I know right now there's so many people out there that are struggling to make ends meet. Maybe to pay their rent, maybe their car broke down, maybe they don't have enough food, whatever the reason. But don't give up, okay? Don't give up. He's there, he's listening, and he will help you. So never give up. Just like Hannah. Hannah couldn't have children, and God gave her one. Samuel. Yeah. So I hope this prayer helps those out there that are struggling right now. But remember, there's hope, and God does hear you, okay? Until next time, you have a great week. Bye-bye.